The Dynasty podcast is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. You were warned. The Dynasty podcast is brought to you by Tom Berkowitz Trucking. When it comes to rubbish removal and eco-friendly recycling, Tom Berkowitz Trucking makes it simple. Don't be a dick. Tom Berkowitz Trucking, servicing all of Riverdale since 1981.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the assholes on the Dynasty tonight. That's right. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Dynasty tonight. Why do we always come here? I guess we'll never know. It's like some kind of torture to have to watch the show. And now let's get things started. Why don't you get things started? It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, sexuational. This is what we call the Dynasty Podcast.
And now, coming to you live from Riverdale Studios, your host, the one, the only, Eric Costanza!
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode number 15 of the Tom Berkowitz Trucking Dynasty Podcast. Returning after a week off, this is Commissioner Eric Costanza here at Riverdale Studios, and with me is not Bubba Polucha, but his older brother, much better looking, I may add. Everyone knows that the older brother is always better looking. Zach Polucha. Zachary, thank you for joining us.
How's it going, Coach?
Good, thank you. And this is your second time co-hosting the show here this year. The first time with me. Thank you for doing this.
At least this time we have the mic turned on.
Yeah, yes, we do have... Wait, is it on? It's on. We're good. Well, we had the week off last week, but 2 weeks ago we had Whiffin, Brian Tavallari, and John step in. I haven't listened back to the show yet, but I do want to again extend my appreciation to them. I don't know what happened. I had another panic attack or something. I passed out. I woke up and it sounds like they took over the show. So thank you again, Zach. Did you hear that? They did a wonderful job, I thought.
They did a great job.
Yes, what great guys they are. My neck is still a little stingy. I'm not sure why. Is there a scar in this sector, Zach? Not really so much here, but more right around here. Can you see if there's anything here?
Nope, looks good.
Looks good. Okay, good. My throat still hurts. All right. Well, enough fucking around here. We're gonna go ahead. We had last week off. Let's get right into this. We got a lot we want to talk about. On the show, we're gonna recap week 14. We're gonna look ahead here to week 15. And then we are going to have Coach Bub Polucha here on the show for the coaches interview. Normally he is my co-host, but he will be joining us via phone. And then on the interactive segment, we are going to have Professor Brendan Dwyer on the show. He is a professor in sports leadership at the College of VCU. He recently wrote an article on fantasy football called Research Debunks Fantasy Football's Negative Stereotypes. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, professor's going to be boring. It's not, trust me. He's like mid-30s. He's cool. I have a good feeling about this interview. Again, we're going to talk a lot about some of the negative stereotypes when it comes to fantasy football. Zach, what do you think are maybe some negative stereotypes when it comes to fantasy coaches?
I think the common perception out there is that we're people that just sit down in our basements and
Yes.
we have our glasses on and watch fantasy football in our PJs. And,
Yes.
We're basically a nerdy perspective of it. And I think also people think that that we don't really care for one team. We don't really care who wins. We just want to sit there and watch our guys score points.
Right.
And, so,
bullshit is what it is, and I'm pretty sure that Professor Dwyer will enlighten us a little bit more about that. I want to talk to him about the fantasy gods as well. He actually teaches a course on fantasy football at VCU. It's ridiculous. How awesome would it be to go to a course about fantasy football? So we'll talk to him about that, and I think, maybe he'll help us determine the whole fantasy god debate, or at least get his perspective on it. So that should be interesting. I forgot to mention, Zach, earlier when we were talking about the podcast from a couple weeks ago. Steve Brandano, who was the interactive segment there on the show, he did go ahead and he tweeted out our show to over 21,000 people on his Twitter. So it's pretty amazing that our show is getting that type of publicity. My email box was full of fans with positive feedback, so that's some good stuff right there, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Pretty freaking impressive. 21,000 people right there.
All using Tom Berkowitz Trucking for their trash needs.
As always. The other thing, Zach, Jay Young Kim, we all love him, hate him. He obtained the first warning of the season, maybe the only warning, a couple weeks ago when he started. I think it was Kendall Hunter when he was, hurt.
Oh, Kendall Hunter.
What do you think about that? That was kind of a suck. I was hoping we were going to go through the season for the first time ever, not having any warning. Mistakes happen, but just a tough situation for Jay Young, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of inexcusable. I'm actually glad that it happened. It means he's automatically going to get that fourth pick, assuming there's no more warnings.
Yeah, and it's him having the worst record in the league, but being in the picks 1 through 4, he was going to go up for the possibly the number 1 pick in the draft, which should be huge. But now he's, again, assuming no one else gets a warning, he's definitely going to be locked into that number 4 slot. So definitely a kind of a big penalization there for him. And then the other few things I want to talk about quickly, Zach. We had our voting, year-end voting for MVP, draft pick of the year, league fund rank, commissioner rankings. I'm not going to give away everything. I'm going to wait for the Gazette to divulge the information there. But let's just briefly talk a little bit about it. So the MVP, it was between Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Arian Foster. Bub and I came up with those candidates. We really could have threw in Adrian Peterson in there. He's having a remarkable season, but the fact that he's on Will's team, and Will's team sucks, how can he really be an MVP? Who did you vote for, Zach?
I voted for Peyton Manning for MVP.
Yep.
I just think he's having such a good year, and he's really...
Are you sure? I thought you voted for Brady. Are you sure about that?
No, I have no idea who I voted for.
I'm pretty sure... I'd have to bring up the email, but I'm pretty sure you voted for Brady. I could be wrong. Maybe
my draft pick of the year was Peyton Manning. That's what it was.
Yes. That's what it was. So you went with Brady.
I did. Yeah, Brady's having such a remarkable year, and he's not carrying a team. You obviously have some other weapons on there, but
he's the catalyst, the captain.
Yeah, he's throwing up 20, 30 points a game for
us. Consistent. So. Yeah, consistent. Well, we'll see if he ends up winning. And then the draft pick of the year was between AJ Green on Bubba, Ridley on Pig Newtons, Peyton Manning, Brutal, RG3, Andrew Luck, and Randall Cobb. A lot of good draft pick options there. Who did you go with, Zach?
Well, like I said, I went with Peyton for that one. Kind of a risky pick at that point in the draft for Brandon. It's really worked out for him well. Peyton's performed the best out of all those guys. Mm-hmm. And Andrew Luck doesn't even really play for Brian, so I didn't really consider that to be a good candidate. But
yeah, and you can kind of say the same thing about RG3. I'll let you know right now. It's between RG3 and Peyton Manning as far as draft pick of the year, and as far as RG3 is concerned, he's only played twice for me, and he's only put up 39 points total for me all year. Kind of really sitting on my bench. I plugged him in twice so far. That's against Peyton Manning's 220 points for Brandon thus far. So it's interesting that RG3 may win draft pick of the year, but he really hasn't done anything for me. But I guess the argument could be made, considering where I drafted him there in the 9th round versus his performance, which is really like a keeper level. And the fact maybe he's not on another team is good in and of itself. The fact that I'm not playing a team that has him. And then just, I guess, his keeper potential. Obviously, Peyton's been great as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Then the league fund rank, always very important here to the league, making sure everything is on par, everyone's having a good time. The highest it's ever been was 97% back in D6. And I'll let you guys right now know that 10 of 12 people voted perfectly.